Hello, everyone. I just want to say that, as usual, I am really honored to be here. I was thinking about the whole idea of earth keepers, and it's been decades ago, I first came into contact with the term earth keeper, and it really touched my heart because I knew that my life was about not just helping human people, but about helping the earth and all our relations. And I understood that and fell in love with the earth and continue to be in love with the earth and all our relations ever as much as I am with human people. And so I'm really glad you're joining in this process of keeping the earth, keeping all this wonderful family that we have been given and this exquisite, exquisite planet that we've been given, that we are really challenged on right now. So I'm thinking about our responsibility as earth keepers, and I'd like to give you always tools that assist you in creating a world that we all want, a place of harmony and peace, full expression and love. So I've been guided basically to offer a simple yet profound aspect of our work in manifestation and creation, and that's the use of sound. So I'm going to give you some simple things, but my deeper hope, my deeper intention is that I want to be an inspiration for you to dream and bring into reality some new and sustainable ways of living and being. I just want to take a little segue here because what's really true is that we are in deep trouble. As a human family, we have made a mess of things, and we need to come out of it. We need to bring ourselves out of it. We need to take responsibility to do that. And for me, small and incomplete and just a lot of what we're doing is not working. We need to have a much larger, bigger, deeper, richer, more magical, if you will, way of working with what's happening. And I believe that there are certainly scientific things and shamanic things that will really help us. And we need to turn things around so that we are, in fact, living in harmony with the life around us. Our elders say that we have 15 to 20 years to do this, which is absolutely an incredibly, incredibly short time. And so I want to suggest one thing before I begin my specific talk, and that is that we know that there are technologies out there that have been held and not released for who knows what reasons. Some of them may be good, but most of them just to keep power and control in those who now hold a lot of the wealth and a lot of the money and a lot of the power. And it's the most ignorant and foolish thing because our earth is in trouble. It's not like there are a few people going to, oh, we're going to be fine, we're going to have everything and have it all wonderful, and the rest of you probably have to go to HELL. So all of us are in this. It's about all of us. And I want to point you to something before I start, and that is the work of Dr. Stephen Greer. I hope that he's invited onto the Earth Keepers this year because he certainly is one. His work in the SAR Sirius, SIRIUS, SiriusDisclosure.com project has been seen by everyone as about UFOs. And certainly we're understanding now there's disclosure that in fact there are other intelligences in touch with us in many different ways. But it's not really about that. It's really about the release of information on scientific principles that could literally turn around the challenges we have on Earth today. So I hope that you take a look at that. There's a lot of things happening right now in the world, a lot of new information coming out, and hopefully things that the larger world will get a hold of and begin to change and reveal some of these things so that we can work in these what seem like magical ways. I guess in the shamans of old, they would have seemed like total shamanic magic, and they are in a way, because for me the shamanic magic is about, it's about being in touch with the whole of reality, the whole of power, the whole of the richness that we have available in the universe, that were gifted us by the great Mother Father, and using that whole information, wisdom, technology to make a wonderful world for ourselves. So I'm really wanting at the deepest level to stimulate in you the sense that we really need to find our best, most powerful, most transformative ways of being. And so as Earth Keepers, we can look in many, many directions. And some of them are scientific, some of them are about the political government kind of issues, and some of them are within our own magic and our own practices. So I'll go back to what I was originally going to talk about. And I want to give you some general guidelines and ideas, and then just a couple of simple demonstrations about the use of sound. And again, it's really about inspiring you to dream of different ways, sustainable, regenerative ways of living that we can bring forward now, that are absolutely possible, but not possible if we stay in the framework of, oh, we have gasoline engines, we have nuclear power, and yeah, there's some solar and all of that. We need to step beyond those things. They're obviously not working. We've had them for a good while, and our energy and our capacity to live on this earth is going down and down very rapidly. So these are simple things, and I hope you enjoy them, because I think they're important as well. So I want to begin with an altar song. And this song is one that came from an ancient graveyard. A medicine man friend of mine heard this as he was working with this graveyard. And I just want to start this, and it's an altar song. And this song is a dedication to you as Earth Keepers, and it's also a dedication to this beautiful, beautiful earth and all our relations. Yo, eh, hi, 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 eh, yo, eh, hi, 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 do. Yo, eh, hi, 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 eh, yo, eh, hi, 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 do. Yo, eh, hi, 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 yo, eh, hi, 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 eh, yo, eh, hi, 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 do. So I came in as a singer. My family said I was singing really before I even spoke. And although I've never been formally trained, song and sound have always been a part of my life, and certainly of my teachings and my work. So this subject of sound is as broad as the physical universe in reality. So you must know that I'll be touching just on a few salient points. My intent is to awaken you to possibilities and further exploration, not to cover by any means the whole subject. So let's just take a few points. One, it's important to remember that the physical universe is made of vibration, frequencies, tones, emotion, and all that goes with it. Duality, that it takes that up and down kind of energy, up, down, in, out, black, white, men, women, on and on. All of that duality is a oneness, but it creates an ability for things to vibrate. And every single thing, that's the second point, everything in the physical world has a unique vibration. Its true name, in essence. I understand that in the Hindu culture, there's a language where the sound is the true, unique vibration of what is being indicated. So like snake, that whatever that vibration is, it is the energy of the thing it indicates, whether it's a snake, a rabbit, or a person. And interestingly enough, I've been told by younger Lakota people who worked with the old medicine men, the ones who were there before the mission schools, the ones who had the real deep, old-time indigenous magic. They have told me that in the Americas there was a medicine language, and that language was the same as I spoke about in the Hindu culture. The sound, the vibration itself was the vibration of the thing referred to. It was a very magical language, and I was told that the medicine men of all the tribes spoke it, and they loved to get together, actually. You know, forget the warring, forget the fighting. They loved to get together and share, just as many of us do, who have a certain way of seeing the world. And they had this much larger, more beautiful, more powerful way of seeing the world. Now, another thing is the mages, the magicians of old, always said in all of their writings, don't tell anyone your true name. Now, that's very interesting. And when I think about that, what they say is that others have power over you if they know your true name. And so that means your true vibration, your true essence. And I'm kind of fascinated whether that is literally like our DNA. If you have a little hair or anything of anyone's, you have their essential DNA. In a sense, you might say their essential vibration. And so you know and can connect a lot of things about them. So the old magicians would have a common name, an ordinary name, maybe a spiritual name, but very, 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 very few people ever knew their real, deep, true name. What's interesting now around this whole vibration idea is that we're now beginning to be able to record plant songs and sounds. There are clicks and beeps and even what seems to be a song that come from all the plants. So there's a lot of work being done now where we can see that that vibration is going on with everything in the world. I'm sure stones have a vibration. It's probably way too slow for us to record, but I'm sure they do. Now, the third thing is that vibration gives information. So one of the things that's really important, I think, for us in a medicine way, in a shamanic way, is to listen. Is to really listen for the vibration, the sound, the information that's in the larger world and in that more subtle world of vibration. Certainly, some sounds are very loud, but if we want to really hear the information around us, to tune in at very deep levels, to be able to harmonize between the physical and the subtle, the human and the non-human, more than human realms, we need to listen as well as using any energy we have to call things because we know their true vibration. Another thing is I want to talk a bit about the uses of sound. Most of you know this. I'm going to throw out some random things here from ancient civilizations. Really focused on this technology of sound to not only call, but to cut, to lift, to entrance, to heal, and so much more. Because just imagine that you're really focused on sound as a technology, many incredible things would have been developed. So I'm going to give a couple examples and I'll talk more about that in a minute. Now, one of the things that's we can use in our work, if you're doing shamanic work or drumming work, is monotonous sound, a drum with a steady, slow beat. That steady, slow beat, that sameness allows the physical to stabilize. The physical to stabilize and settle. And when that calms, then it's easier for the spirit to journey. And so trance dances, they always say the grandmothers danced that simple side step around a circle, sometimes all night long, and I know that was a trance dance. They were asking for connection and information. And even the ghost dance, where people fell in trance and journeyed to their beloved dead ones on the new earth they were being shown, that also came out of trance dancing. And some cultures, there was ecstatic dances, like, yeah, you know, really go for it, absolutely go wild, let go, totally let go, dance fully, dance till you're exhausted, totally let go. And in many of those cultures, then people fall. They literally exhaust themselves and fall into trance, where they are allowed and kept safely so that they can move in the world of spirit and bring back what they have from that kind of experience. Interestingly enough, some of you may know about the emerald tablets. They're an ancient, very old anyway, writing. Some say they came from the Atlantean culture. But one of the things they have in their teaching that I picked up on really immediately was they said, if you want to journey, if you want to go deep, if you want to touch the more subtle realms, there are interesting ways to do it. And one of them they suggested is to create or find a random sound, a random vibration. Now, interestingly enough, if you're trying to create this, a random vibration isn't easy to make. It's like, you know, if you're drumming, it's like, it's so hard not to get in a pattern. So it's nice to find something natural that has a random kind of beat to it. So to find something random, to really get yourself connected with that. And for me, the randomness, what that does is that just kind of shakes things loose. It's like, you know, it's not easy to track that. And so you're letting all of that structure and our normal thinking go. So it really opens things up. And then you come back to that steady beat. Come back to the steady beat, and then open up that random beat again. And I'll talk a bit about more of that later. I have an interesting thing. You know, I have for many years worn these ankle bells. I wear them when I'm working. I'm walking around. They're making sound. And for me, part of what they're doing, well, they're doing a couple things. One, they're taking people out of their ordinary reality. I mean, who's in a lecture where somebody's wearing ankle bells? It just is a whole different ballgame. And also, they're interesting sounds. But it certainly opens up different possibilities than being in a corporate boardroom. So there's something about the randomness, the movement of these bells and this sound that help people move into a different state of being that's more receptive to the teaching. So I've used these for years, and I will continue to, because they do something very special for people. I've talked to people after my work, and they sometimes comment on how something very interesting and maybe trance-like happened around the sound of the ankle bells that I wear. Another thing, just a quickie that I'll throw out here, is that dissonant sounds are important for clearing. And I'm going to step over and get a little piece that I have here that I want to use with you. For right now, I can't find that. So what I want to tell you about is the the dissonant sounds. Now, often when we think about healing or doing what we want to do, we think about harmonious, beautiful, sweet sounds, and of course those are wonderful. But in the Peruvian whistles, if you've ever used those, and also in the shamanic flute that I have, the sounds are very dissonant. They're really great against each other, and they create a really intense vibration. When I first worked with the Peruvian whistles, I thought, oh, we're going to have these great melodies. There were 6 of them, and we were all to play them, and I assumed they were just going to be this lovely kind of melody, and I was like, whoa, no, they weren't. It was like, you know, there was really, really intense dissonant sound. And what I've realized about dissonant sound is that it clears. It clears the way. It vibrates things in an unusual way, a very intense and unusual way that allows the kind of clearing that we sometimes want to do. So I just want to remind you that when you're working with healing sounds, they aren't necessarily always just really harmonious, sweet, lovely, calming sounds, although those are fabulous and they have their own uses. There are also dissonant sounds, as with the Peruvian whistles and shaman flutes, that really can be used in clearing something you might want to investigate. You know, always, always, always we have used sounds for communication, and I don't mean just our voice. You know, there have been drumming, clicks, so many different kinds of sounds have been used to communicate. And I even think sometimes of the telegraph, it's all a kind of communication with sound. So thinking about what it is and how we communicate with sound is very powerful. Another thing I want to mention is dual sounds. Now, one of the things I was taught is that we can use dual sounds to travel between the worlds. And here's how I understood that and how I use it. I often use this in the Vision Quest work that I do. So what I do, or have others do, is to sit by a stream. And streams are wonderful for this because they have incredibly random sound. You know what it's like, the little trickling and the moving and the swirling of the water, always completely different and really beautiful. And from one place to the other, there may be a little waterfall there or a little stream here, and they're very different sounds. So what I like to do is sit at that stream right in between those sounds. And the practice is to just kind of totally forget this side for a while and listen. It's like listen to this sound. And you can actually do this with rattles as well. So you listen to this sound, you really connect that to that side of your body, really get familiar with that, really hook up to it. And then paying attention to the other side, perhaps that little trickle in the other part of the stream, and you're listening to a different kind of sound. And once again, that's on your other side, and you are connecting really strongly, connecting that ear with that. And then open your attention to listen to both and move between them. Move right between them and move into the other worlds. So I hope you have a chance to practice that and play with it. And it's especially fun by a stream to use that sound, one ear and the other, really hook up with that, and then go between them in traveling into other worlds. So these are small things, but let's look now at the pre-Diluvian societies, the incredibly amazing and wise societies that were here before the Great Flood around 12,000 years ago. And it seems like from what we can discover that they likely used sounds to create those amazing temples of huge stones, like we see at Göbekli Tepe, at Machu Picchu, in Japan, and around the world. It seems they used sound to cut, to shape, to carve, possibly drill, like the cores. I saw a whole teaching about the cores, the ancient cores. And a core is where you take some kind of a drill and drill down and take out of this incredibly hard stone a round piece, you know, a core, a little core. And these folks that were researching this, the scientists were researching it, said that there's no way that we have any technology today that could do that kind of cutting of those cores with such exactness and such capability to literally drill down in some of the hardest stone in the world and take those cores out. So they were using something very powerful, and I do believe that that was sound. Of course, there's always the thing, I was just drifting and thinking, there's always the thing of sound breaking glass. You know, you get certain kind of a high-pitched sound, boo, it'll blow glass apart. And there are also, and some people are very aware of this, and actually bridge builders and other people who do things that have vibration work with this, because there's certain vibrations that will cause epileptics to go into seizure. So there's that. Once again, sound and vibration causing something very intense to happen in the physical body. So it's clear that sound is powerful, really powerful, and that it can be used incredibly well. It's also been used to lift, to levitate things. And here I want to take a minute, because you may be thinking, no way, that can't be sound, come on. But if I think about our brilliant civilization, if it had chosen 150 years ago to focus totally on sound, instead of using earth materials like wood or coal or water or petroleum to create energy, how far along do you think we might have gotten now? So again, let's focus in. What if we had chosen, with these incredibly brilliant human minds, what if we had chosen 150 years ago, instead of using all the materials, digging up the earth, tearing up the earth, polluting the earth, both by all the tailings of the mines and all the chemicals, and the smoke, all the burning of petroleum and all the things that it's done to our culture. So how far along do you think we might have gotten if we'd have paid attention to that technology, and certainly many others? I received information several years ago, including an illustration about how Tibetan monks use sound to lift very heavy objects. It was very, very interesting. I don't have it with me because I'm traveling all the time. I'd love to have shown you that illustration, but basically what it showed was this kind of moon-shaped group. Maybe there were 10 or 12 of the Tibetan monks in a kind of a moon shape, and they all had those amazing instruments that they use. And if you've listened to Tibetan sound and music, you realize it's very discordant. There's a lot of intensity, and it isn't harmonious la 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 kind of music. It's intense and dissonant. And it showed these 10 or 12 monks in a row, and then there was a person out in front, evidently the conductor of this whole thing, standing near a huge stone, a stone about as big as the person himself. And what they did is the musicians began making their sound, and using that sound in some very magical way. That man that was a conductor moved that stone up and set it in place where it was meant to be. And what's interesting about these things is that I believe there's a tremendous amount of consciousness evolved in this kind of technology. We know that we can levitate things and we can do many things, the new science that's coming out. And some of it has to do with how our consciousness is focused. So developing our consciousness and what we can do with our internal experience connected with the external experience is really important. So with these examples, I'm wanting to stimulate your thinking, to open your mind to new possibilities. So many of you are so brilliant, and others of you are remarkable at bringing information through from spirit. So although we've lost much of the magic of our ancient wisdom traditions, I believe we can bring it back, literally through ourselves. If we can let go of our past experience, our past human limited thinking, and open ourselves to new and amazing possibilities. And the thing that's interesting is that it's not easy to do that with the mind, because your mind tracks what you've experienced, categorizes and tracks and works with what you've experienced. So if you haven't experienced lifting some big heavy stone with sound, your mind doesn't want to go there. But that's where you go into your deeper intelligence, into your deeper brain, into that shamanic brain, and bring through the magic in a sense. And I really think that magic will be required to pull us out of the deep hole, the tragic destruction of the family of life and our earthly home that we're in. So I'd like to see you embrace some wild and crazy alternatives, as well as working with whatever you may work with now. There's so many wonderful, strikingly amazing potentials that we have not explored. And some of you, with your brilliance and your ability to connect to spirit, I believe you can bring these through and begin working with them. And hopefully you can play a bit with this kind of sound stuff, because I believe it is very powerful when we can move into a different, higher level of working with it. So just a few more quick things here. I want to talk about the power of sound again. There's something called voice analysis that my friend Annie Williams does through her Song Gaia work. What they do is they analyze the tones you use. So you might have me talk about something simple, talk about something I'm excited about, talk about something that's kind of depressing to me, or talk about something that worries me. Using this voice analysis to track the actual tones that I'm making. And some will be left out. And all of these tones connect to physical functions and organs. They connect to colors. They connect to your astrology. They certainly connect to your trauma, your lack of full expression or unique expression. So they're very, very important. And it's excellent to find the ones you're not using, because each of us has a unique expression. There's one tone that is our kind of essence vibration. And if we're not using that tone in our speaking, then something is not being fully expressed. For example, I had this done long ago, and it was like a B or B flat that was missing. And they said that this created weakness in the back and pelvic muscles. So I worked with that sound, that B sound, listening to it, playing it, singing it, and made such a difference. But for example, the thyroid's connected to a sound, the stomach, different normal functions are all connected to this kind of sound. That's your normal sound range. And here's a dramatic example. One of them is that with this voice analysis, they found out that hydrocephalics, people that have the big watery head, they found out that they are missing a tone if they give them that tone in a little box or something, you know, that plays through their, plays into their ears all the time, their head comes down to normal size. And because it's a genetic defect, they can't create that sound. Most of us can correct things by creating and singing that sound, but they can't. They can't find that sound in their system. So that sound needs to be given to them. And if in fact they don't listen to it, don't wear their little device, and don't have that sound around them, their heads go back up. So we know that sound, our own sound, is really important. And I certainly think you might find it interesting to check out that Sangaya work of Ani's, the voice analysis. You know as well as I do, and there are lots of apps out there now, that are frequencies for the brain to relax, enliven, focus. I think Beethoven and classical music is just excellent for learning. People who have it on in the background learn so much better. Their sleep patterns are better, their immune system is supported, their stress levels go down. So there's a lot of work out there with that. I think there's Brain Tap and a bunch of other kind of things out there that are really important and useful in that way. And also they found out that hip hop or anyway, harsh things with negative words and anger and all of that, of course, would have a negative influence on us. They might be informative, but they certainly have a negative influence according to the studies that have been done. Another interesting thing is bird song. You know, the birds, before we damage the insects, which are losing us, songbirds, the bird song around gardens and plants were shown to make plants grow better and fuller. And actually someone took advantage of that scientifically, recorded some of the bird songs, and you can find those and play those in your garden and around your plants to make them grow better. So let's come back quickly to you. A lot of this you probably already know and sense, but perhaps you can awaken it more fully to improve what you do. Whether or not you realize it, you are influencing people with the vibrations you make and carry. So first of all, your own vibe. You manifest what you vibrate. And according to White Buffalo Woman, and now of course quantum physics, every vibration we have extends out and affects the whole of things. So it's a big challenge. So paying attention to yourself, your own speaking, your tone, how you use your voice can either be calming and relaxing, or it can get things going and get excited. All of those things to really know what you're doing and pay attention to your voice. The drum again, heart entrainment. When you play this drum, you are entraining the heart of those who listen. You're connecting to and causing them to join the beat that you're doing. So it's really important when you play the drum to know that you're playing with people's hearts, really. And so this wonderful, simple drum, if you're doing a really wild dance, you're really going to go for it, and that'll speed people's hearts up and get them going. A calling beat, da, 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 da. That calling beat is saying, come on, hurry up, get over here, let's go. So all of those things are really important as you pay attention to your drum. Know that you're working with a very powerful instrument, even though it seems very simple. Now, another song that, another way of thinking about things is songs. Songs have meanings, and they also have tones that are meaning tones in a sense. So they might have words that you understand, but they also can just have tones that make a difference. Now, there's something like a lullaby or dance music. There's a wonderful song, a woman's healing song from our indigenous grandmothers from a good while ago that I love to share with people. And I'll sing a little bit of that for you. Na be hai, na be hai, na be hai. So certainly I think that's a very calming and softening sound. And then there's another one that my elder Bearheart taught me, and it's a calling spirit song, and I want you just to watch this, because notice what's happening. Although I'm not speaking specific words of meaning, I'm doing something and using the energy to call spirit. So you notice what happened there. I'm calling on high, I'm waking things up. I'm calling loudly. Then I'm inviting that spirit, inviting it to come down, and then inviting it to nest, to come into and stay connected in my world. So that's a wonderful calling spirit song, and a use of sound, vibration, motion to add to what's being done. One more thing I'm going to mention is dancing and ceremony. One of the old things that was done was dancing and even pageantry that was literally meant to dance dreams, dance visions into the ground, to create a vibration in the real world that made things happen. It's why my native people say your prayers out loud. It's good to think them, but vibrate that into your world. It's not about someone else hearing it. It's about the whole universe hears it more, and you can manifest more easily that way. So remember old Black Elk, one of our wonderful Lakota elders, who had an amazing dream, 4 colors, and in those days they hadn't seen 4-colored people. You know, I mean, all the 4 colors of people. I haven't seen a 4-colored person myself. So anyway, he saw all these colored people and all these different strange things. I mean, white people and yellow people and black people. He'd never seen anything like that, and he felt really crazy. So when they finally encouraged him to share his vision, which was this incredible vision for the world about the 4 directions, the 4 colors, the coming together of all of that. They literally created a pageant with people who painted their faces the right way, colored horses. They literally danced that as a people into the ground. And even you dancing in a circle. I've seen big earthworms, big long earthworms come out of the ground when we're dancing. For an hour or so in a circle, they come out and go, what are you guys doing? It's like there is a deep vibration going when you're dancing. So just think about that as well when you're creating ceremony and other things. Can you vibrate the world? Can you vibrate the physical world in a way that helps bring the dream or vision you have into reality? I did something at McCall, Idaho, on the harmonic convergence in 1987. I called it Dance Awake the Dream. And we were dancing to dance awake the dream of a new world, a new way of being. And now I hear a lot of people using that sense, and I'm glad. The thought that we can dance, we can literally dance awake the dream that we have. The dream of a really beautiful and whole and lovely world, a world of harmony and blessedness. So I hope I've awakened some thoughts. Most of this has been very simple and just kind of a quick review, but I hope I've awakened some thoughts and possibilities for you in your daily life and in your dedication as an Earth Keeper. Remember what White Buffalo Woman's quantum teaching tells us, that the whole life and space are one, and we literally affect everything with what we do. So know then that the vibration you carry, the sound you offer, the way you use sound is very powerful and important. I'm going to close our time together with a song that I wrote. It came through me. This is a song to invite you to walk forward as well in this way. Walk in beauty, it's all around you. Walk in beauty, let love surround you. Walk in beauty, make it around you. Walk in beauty with love for all. Hey, yay, hey, hey, yay, hey, 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 yay, hey, hey, yay, hey, hey, hey. Walk in beauty, it's all around you. Walk earth with honor, shine love upon her. Walk in beauty, sweet earth we honor. Walk in beauty with love for all. Hey, yay, hey, hey, yay, hey, 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 yay, hey, hey, yay, hey, hey, hey. So Creator, Great Spirit, may we walk this beauty path by opening up our hearts and our minds to all the incredible possibilities you have for us, much beyond what we now know, much beyond what we now practice, but are so available from the heart and intelligence, the love and light that are the center, the heart of the great creation. We dedicate ourselves as Earth Keepers to bringing through the highest and finest that we can to make a difference in this critical and challenging time on Earth, yet a time with so much incredible potential and possibility. Ho, Bitokiasin, all my relations. May you walk in beauty.